Hi everybody. I wanted to put this little tutorial together on how to build or convert condos or co-ops in the state of New York. It's a very involved procedure, and I just want to highlight some of the areas that you need to understand and move forward as you start to put together your projects. Before we begin and move into any information, just a little disclaimer. Nothing presented in this presentation, in this video, should be taken as legal advice. I am not a licensed or practicing attorney, so I am not capable or qualified to give you specific legal advice. I am also not representing that this information is 100% accurate or that I am not omitting something. If you want to move forward and find out all of the information and the details in the process, you must contact an attorney who practices in condo document or condo declaration filings. They will be able to give you much better, much more detailed advice. What this video is meant to do, and this presentation is meant to do, is to give everyone a general understanding of the regulations and procedures. We hear the term condominium a lot in the news, talking about sellouts, talking about a specific apartment setting a record on a price per square foot basis. But what are condominiums? A condominium is a single real estate unit in a multi-unit development in which a buyer has both separate ownership of their unit that they live in and an undivided interest in the common elements of the building. Sounds pretty complicated. It's a very specific and general, very specific legal definition. So how do we look at and how do we figure out what is a common interest and what is the owner or the purchaser's specific interest? So let's take a look at a specific condominium building. From this picture, you could clearly see that there is a parking lot, and you could actually see a car parked in the parking lot. That parking lot is an example of a common element. Other common elements would include green space, yards, playgrounds, pools, tennis courts, hallways, elevators, basements. Those are all examples of common area for which each unit owner will hold an undivided interest in. The common area is held under what's referred to as a master deed and is owned by the homeowners association or the condominium association in that specific development. The condo association is a board that represents all of the unit owners, so it is a duly elected board, and each individual owner normally has a voting right in the association board. Those voting rights can be determined on a number of factors, such as size of the unit, meaning someone that has a 5,000 square foot penthouse will have more weight in their voting than, say, someone that owns a 750 square foot studio. Within this building, there are all individual units represented by each of these specific windows. If you would pull that unit out on a 3D, anything located within the interior walls is individually owned by the purchaser or the member of the homeowners association. Ownership is conveyed in what's referred to as a unit deed. So condominiums, when you purchase into a condominium, you actually receive two deeds. One is a unit deed giving you a fee simple interest in what is located within your four walls. And then you have an interest in a master deed, which includes all of the common elements, such as this parking lot. However, it is important to note that condos are not a building type. or an asset class, they are a form of ownership. Condos can take the form of many different housing types, such as apartments, which are most common in urban areas in the cities, townhomes, which can be located within cities, but primarily in the suburbs. Single family detached homes in subdivision developments can operate as condos. Offices and, of course, retail spaces can also be condoed and sold to individual owners. Condominiums are a fairly new form of ownership, only having been passed into law in New York State and other surrounding states in the 1960s and 1970s. However, the concept of individual ownership of an apartment predates the condominium laws in most states. Prior to the passing of those laws, if a person wanted to own their apartment, or if people had an interest in owning their apartments within a building, they would do so under what was referred to as a cooperative form of ownership. When buildings are owned under a co-op structure, legal title of the building is not held with each individual owner. It is passed on to a corporation. That corporation will hold title and then sell shares to the individual owners or the individual residents within the building. So when you purchase a co-op, you're not purchasing a unit deed, you're purchasing a UCC agreement, which means you are purchasing shares in the corporation. For this example, 123 Main Street Co-op Inc., which holds the title to the building. Before you could purchase into a co-op, the co-op board must approve you or must approve your purchase. So much like a condominium association, a cooperative is run by the co-op board. Co-ops are an older form of ownership, again predating the 1960s, so you will most likely find them in older buildings. Because they are not as common in terms of new construction or new conversions, we're going to focus the next part of this presentation on filing for condominium forms of ownership. If you have an existing building, or if you want to build an entirely new building from ground up construction and sell the apartments or units to individuals, in order to do so legally in the United States, a developer must file a condo declaration package. The state statute that gives authority to create condos is referred to as Article 9B of the Real Property Law, also known as the Condominium Act. Now here is a point of distinction between condos and co-ops. Co-ops are governed by corporate law. Because you're buying into a corporation, a co-op is governed by the laws surrounding businesses and corporations. However, since condominiums are a separate form of ownership of real estate, they are governed under a separate act referred to as the Condominium Act. In order for a developer to comply with the law, a condo declaration must include certain elements pertinent to the buyer's interest. Because they're including all of these elements, these condo declaration books, as they're referred to, can be quite voluminous and quite costly to put together. Some of the information that is included within these books are unit floor plans, a description of the common elements, lists of unit pricing, which is referred to as Schedule A, the association budget, which is Schedule B, the association bylaws, and the list of restrictions to the property. Some examples to Restrictions can be that unit owners can only have dogs less than 70 pounds. Um, or they could restrict pet ownership altogether. They could do that because it's within the bylaws, and in order for a person to buy into a condominium, they have to agree to and comply with all of those rules and regulations. The association bylaws and the larger condo declaration is a legal document. Because they are legal documents, they have to contain a bunch of legalese in order to mitigate any risk to the developer. And because they're so large, they can be very expensive. Not only do you have to pay a lawyer to put it together, you need to pay the state a fee for the right to convert or to build a condominium building. So let's take a look at an example. Let's try to calculate the total charges for a condo filing on a building with a $10 million sellout. First thing you need to calculate is the fees that go to the state. Those fees are listed as 1/4% of the total anticipated sellout price as listed in your Schedule A. However, not all condominium fees are the same, meaning that fee percentage is applicable to deals up to, I believe, $28 million. After $28 million, you pay a flat fee equivalent to what the highest percentage would be, or the highest fee calculated on that $28 million sellout. So what this means is that if you're developing a $28 million building or a $100 million building, you will pay the same fee. For our example, this 1/4% on our $10 million sellout works out to be $25,000. If that was the only fee that you, or the only cost that you would have to pay, you'd be getting off easy. However, you have to add in certain miscellaneous expenses, such as recording fees with the state, normally around $25 to $50, postage to ship to the Attorney General's office, the cost of copying, and other miscellaneous charges, which should run you on the somewhere around $1,000. And on top of that, you then have to add in your fees for your attorney. On a deal this size, typical attorney fees usually run between $20,000 to $25,000. So if you total all of these three components together, your condo declaration filing would cost you somewhere between $41,000 to $46,000. This is in addition to any other soft costs that you have to design and any hard costs to develop and build the building and the units. As we said earlier, the statutes governing condo filings reside with the state of New York. And they also reside in the states, or all of the other states within the USA. And because each state is different, the statutes governing condo filings will vary by state. What I tried to do here was list some links to resources with more information about filing in the New York tri-state area. So we have some useful links related to New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut. If you are interested in looking up the laws governing condo filings in other states, you could just simply search condo declaration or condo declaration laws plus the specific state you're interested in, and you should get a list of links to resources specifically from the state government or the department within the state government that oversees that. If you are interested in moving forward with a condo project, always make sure you hire a licensed attorney to help you through the process. An attorney not only licensed in that state for which you're filing, but also is experienced in filing these condo declaration filings because they're very specific, and if you don't know what you're doing, you can make numerous mistakes, and we know that with attorneys, mistakes lead to extra charges. This wraps up this brief information tutorial on the condo and cooperative filing process. I thank you for your time. If you have any questions, please submit them to my school email, mjn6@nyu.edu.